The views of this program are not necessarily the views of KJLL Radio, its management, or its sponsors. The host is solely responsible for its content. Enjoy.
Show on a spiritual mission from Woody Shaw, Sonship, and Billy Higgins. It's my job to paint a piece of our cultural heritage through interviews with music legends. And if Phil Ranelin could jump on a plane and bring his band to Tucson, he would. Play for a few nights at the Doubletree, join forces with the likes of Henry Franklin and Big Black, and rejuvenate Black urban America, he would. He's a musician who has had his fair share to overcome and continues to crank out albums, the latest of which we were just listening to, called Perseverance. And that was a song dedicated to your mother. Phil Ranelin, as cool as they come, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show, my friend.
Hey, thank you so much, Jake. It's an honor to be here, and I just want to thank you for doing what you're doing, man, helping to keep this music alive, you know.
It's
true advocate and supporter of it. You know.
I guess, Phil, what I feel in my heart today is a sense that things have, since I started this mission, I've been so engrossed and enthralled with the people that I've met, the kind of hearts that people have, and the generosity. Yet, all around me, I feel that I feel that we, as a culture, as a society, we've been almost suffocated to a degree. And that it bothers me today. I feel that what I'm doing makes so much sense, but yet I can't understand why all the programs that seem to make sense to me are being cut.
Right. Well, you know, I believe it's probably by design, Jake, unfortunately. There's elements out there that don't want the truth to be heard. I mean, I have to say that. So, you know, I've been on a mission to try to do my part in some small way to help carry out this continuum, you know, of this great art form that I represent. So, you know, hey, you know, and people like yourself that are, you know, like embracing the music and making sure that people hear it, you know, that's so important and so essential. So once again, hey, thank you, man. I don't know what I'd do.
No, I'm not
have done without public radio, you know.
Well, and that's the thing. I before we get too heavy, I wanted to ask you. I know your mother passed on last November, and I just wanted you to talk a little bit about what she meant to you and the kind of support that she provided for you, and most importantly, the kind of person that she was.
Well, you know, she was a wonderful example. You know, like I'm male and she's female, but I mean, you know, like both of my parents were great examples for me. You know, and in the last 2 years, I lost both of them. They lived very, very long lives. You know, and I remember the first time that I went out with her, you know, like to go downtown Indianapolis. And I was so proud of her, and she was so proud of me, you know. She was just very, very special. And I had the opportunity to dedicate something to her. So, it was a very emotional experience doing that, but I wanted to do it. So,
what was she proud of you about?
Well, she was proud of me that, my character, like that. I never caused, I never caused them any problems. Maybe that was one of the things that she was most proud of, I was kind of quiet, but like some of my friends, they ended up, in juvenile centers and that sort of thing. I was pretty straight, and she was probably the most proud of that fact. And I respected my elders. I respected the people in the neighborhood, and everybody always had something good to say about me. So that was probably what she was the most proud of. Yeah.
I love that song that we played on the intro. We weren't able to play the whole thing, but it is such a groovy song, and it's so well written. There's so much melody in it.
Thank you.
It came right from the heart. It was beautiful. I wanted to touch on the album that you most recently made, Perseverance. And it's headlined with you and the skipper Henry Franklin and Big Black, and
sure.
There's all these great guys on it. I mean, Josh Jones on percussion, Kamasi Washington on sax,
Right.
Louis Van Taylor, Don Littleton, and a few guys' names I don't want to butcher them, Tony Austin as well, and of course yourself.
Right.
Let's talk about Perseverance. The name itself has different meanings for different people. I know Perseverance has a meaning for me. What does it mean to Phil Ranelin?
Well, what it means to me is, like I've persevered through some pretty rough times. All of us have had, like trying times, of course. But I'm 72 years old, Jake, and when I was 66, I had a terrible automobile accident that I didn't really think I was going to survive as it was happening. So, it reflects on the fact that I've persevered through that trauma, but also even before that, is just being a trombone player in America, trying to maintain and maintain yourself and actually take care of a family, and playing music is quite a task, and so that I think probably comes into play when I was really thinking about this album, doing this music. So yeah, I've persevered through quite a bit.
Can I ask you about you said you weren't sure if you were going to survive during the actual accident itself?
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I take it
I thought I was out of here.
You thought you were. I mean, thank God you're not, man. The truth is, so you were conscious during the whole thing. I mean, you felt it. Wow.
Yeah, I felt all the pain. So that's why when the pain, from going from just feeling great, hey, I'm riding home, and then all of a sudden, more pain than I've ever felt in my life. I thought I was gone. And as it turned out, it wasn't quite as serious as I thought it was, but my whole right side was pretty much broken up. I shattered knee and broken leg and foot and hip, and the good news was nothing hurt my face. So in my rehab, I was in the hospital a little over a month. In the rehab, at least I was still able to play the horn.
Right, your mouth and your facial structure was not damaged, so you were really able to still be able to blow on that trombone.
So let me ask you something, Jake.
Go ahead.
Are we live here?
We absolutely are.
Oh man, this is great. That way, no one can edit anything, change up what I'm saying, or make a story out of it.
Absolutely not. No, we are live. We are live in Tucson, baby.
Cool.
And
look, what you said, excuse me for interrupting, what you said is very true, Jake. I would love to come to Tucson and play for the people, But hopefully, who knows?
I mean, listen, it's a. I mean, I'm trying. I look at it and I say, my gosh, I'm not sure if you ever came down when you were up in the Midwest, if you came to Tucson, but I talked to guys who lived on the left coast in the they used to talk about how what a vibrant scene. Again, I want to preface it by saying that there are certain structural things in our communities now that don't allow the sort of free spirit of the urban centers. Tucson is not a place that would have, I would consider, to have a vibrant urban environment. That being, and so it's funny. I wanted to tell you the story. I was actually going to lead with it, but I wanted to run through this with you. But I was driving to my daughter's dance recital today, and I drive through just on the outskirts of our downtown here, and it's just dead. It's quiet. I mean, there's just no personality. It's just not to say that there aren't places out at night, but it's not like downtown Indianapolis or Detroit back in '73. Then I drive. Within 5 minutes, I'm outside of the city. I'm back in the suburbs, and a car with 4 black kids drives up, and they're cranking, filthy rap. I mean, not regular rap, but just like dropping N-bombs and really angry. And I look over and I'm just sort of like, two things flashed through my mind. One is that they were driving away from the city. Okay. And it's my sense of it is the urban centers had such the feeling of black culture was so strong in those urban centers in all over the country, in Detroit and in New York, and the coastal cities in Houston, that you were really able to have a real loose and loving and emotional feel in those urban centers. Now, what our society has done in some ways is take those 4 black kids and push them away from the city. To me, it struck me, it wasn't the anger in the language. It struck me as something, I'm like, these kids have so much energy and so much love, just like Phil Ranelin, but they're angry. They're being held down to a degree, energy-wise. And so I say to myself, how did we get really from Motown music, so beautiful, so pure, so much love in those vocals, to the anger of rap music? What were the things in your life because you were there during that turning point?
Well, I experienced a lot of racism when coming up in Indianapolis because, like I said, I'm 72 years old. So I grew up in the 40s. I was born in 1939. During that time, the Ku Klux Klan was, big time there.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Indiana. So that rubs off on the people. So there's a division among the people. Segregation was still big there. So, but as a kid, you're not aware of all this. You're just a kid, just out having fun. So I experienced racism at 5 years old. And me and my buddy are going to the park, and all of a sudden these group of 5 older white kids saw us coming, started shouting out the N-word and everything. And so they don't realize it, but they actually did us a favor by doing that, because at least we knew then that our lives were in danger.
Right.
So we started running back. So anyway, that the reason these new kids in this day and age, we lost a couple of generations. And it's not just among black people, but the whole society lost at least 2 or 3 generations where you had kids raising kids. I remember seeing, some of my friends lose their kids. Lose respect of them. Something happened where I believe it was because of economics that the kids lost faith in their parents and said, "Well, you ain't nothing because why are we living like this?" And it's a pretty complex problem.
It is. It's not something that it struck me today. That dichotomy. I was listening to an Otis Redding record a couple days ago, and I'm just like, this guy just was feeling it. There wasn't acrimony. There certainly wasn't this day-to-day anxiety or fear. And I agree with you. I mean, for different reasons, whether it was because I can speak for myself and my generation, it was a situation where we were really the first kids where we were going to live. Our parents were going to be able to provide us with mostly everything we needed, including education, and the cost of living kept up with the price of demand. And it seems to me that there's a disparity, and I feel like it's evident in jazz as well, in the sense that you just can't. I can't have Phil Ranelin. I can't go to a club owner here and make my pitch and be confident that they're going to really be understanding of what I'm talking about. The lack of media exposure. I was actually going to ask you your feeling about the black media. I don't know where the black media is when it comes to accentuating the good music that is going on in the cities, and I was hoping you could talk a little bit about what's going on in Southern California.
See, the black media is not really. It's going to sound crazy that I say this, but they don't seem to even be aware of their own music. I mean, especially jazz. Okay, so jazz is a jazz and R&B and blues. It's all this, it comes from the same. It's from the same cloth. I mean, like in my mind, I know that jazz is a relative of the blues. I mean, like either the mother or the father is like our parent, so, or both. But anyway, the music that they play on the radio is music that like pacifies the soul, that makes young people feel that they can get through the day, and they talk about things. And I'm not talking about rap, but I mean love songs and things. They say things that these young people identify with, and it's really music that pacifies. It doesn't really get too deep, and they don't want it to get deep. And so the reason that music is big is just because jazz is not heard on the airwaves. Like when jazz is heard, the real music, people identify with it. I've watched it happen, like especially live music. When people hear the real deal, they say, "Oh, wow, I like that."
Yeah, exactly.
I like that, but before that, they say, "Well, I don't know if I like jazz." Well, they've never really heard it, and sometimes music that's not really even jazz is passed on as jazz.
You just brought up about 4 really, really great points. It seems to me that there was a conscious decision within the music industry to pacify. And why was there a shift away from sophistication? Because that wasn't the case when you were growing up, or even, I want to wait till after the break to really get into Detroit, but why have we moved farther away from sophisticated music?
Hey, Jake, I didn't realize this was going to get this heavy, But that's a great question.
Man, I save the heaviest stuff for my heaviest guests, Yeah,
but I come from a continuum, guys that I came up with around there in Indianapolis, like for the size of the place, it was some great minds in that little area there, and musically speaking, like we produced the Montgomery Brothers, and Freddie Hubbard and J.J. Johnson, but there were other guys that people never even heard of that were there, that started this flame there. And I feel privileged to have come from that continuum, So my objective is to do what I can to keep this music alive, and keep producing music that you can play on the radio.
Who did you grow up with? I know you grew up with Freddie. I don't think I could have possibly wanted to be anywhere else growing up as a kid than hanging out with you guys. Can you talk a little bit about what how you met each other and what you did?
Well, Freddie and I both had a love for sports, So that's the situation we met in. I didn't attend, we called it grade school. They called it elementary school, but, we went to separate grade schools. But we met in a place called Hill Center in Indianapolis, Indiana, which was a place that kids would go and play basketball and other sports. And one night, my team was playing at the Hill Center, and Freddie and I met after the game. So even though actually we were kind of like enemies, meaning that the area that I had to go to play basketball was off limits if I wasn't down there playing basketball. In other words, like back then there was like territorial, like, hey, are you from the west side? Well, you shouldn't be over here.
Right.
So, yeah, it was like that. So when I met Freddie, he didn't realize that I lived in a different neighborhood. So had he known that I lived in a different neighborhood, we probably wouldn't have become friends back then.
But you formulated the relationship around sports originally, and then it had you already been playing music at that?
Yeah, actually, I hadn't started to play. He had already begun to play, and at that time, I hadn't started to play yet. About a year later, I picked up the instrument, and so a couple of years after we met, well, when I met him, I was 8 years old, so he was 9.5 or 10. So when we met, when he was 11 or 12, I had begun to play, and we met in a situation where we both were in what they call the all-city band. So they took kids from all over town, from different schools, the best of the lot, and put them in a band and called it the Indianapolis All-City Band. So that's how we met musically. So then, he went to Tech High School, and so did I, and we really started getting tight then.
Yeah, I wanted to. We got about a minute left before we take a break. We're joined by Phil Ranelin, great trombone player. His most recent album is Perseverance on a record label that I'm going to really start backing up 100%. It's taken me only about 5 times. Wide Hive Records, Gregory Howe and Wide Hive Records. Phil, it's just great to talk to you, man. And we're going to come back. I'll try to make it less heavy. I got a lot on my mind, but we're going to come back and do real extensive stuff about your career and where you want to go from here, my friend. So just hang tight, and we'll come back. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Jake.
All right. We'll be back in a minute.
Brother Kenny Powell on the drums and Brother Larry McDonald on the bottom. Bam-bam-go. Bam-bam-go. Bam-bam-go got me. Bam-bam-go. Brother Ed Brady on the bass.
CNN Radio, I'm Edgar Dragitz. A top Standard & Poor's official says 2 reasons factored into the agency's downgrade of the U.S. credit rating. One is a debt reduction deal passed by Congress that doesn't go far enough, and the other, political gridlock in Washington. President Obama earlier Saturday called on both political parties to come together to solve the nation's economic problems. 30 U.S. service members are confirmed dead in a helicopter crash in eastern Afghanistan early Saturday. The numbers include 22 Navy SEALs. 7 Afghan troops also died. It's the single deadliest incident since combat began a decade ago in Afghanistan. There are diplomas today for nearly 4,800 University of Alabama students. Spring commencement ceremonies have been postponed in the wake of the deadly tornado that slammed Tuscaloosa in late April. University President Robert Witt honored those who were killed. The most trusted name in news, this is CNN Radio.
has the best back-to-school event in the business.
Depot does!
Office Depot announces even lower prices on 75 top back-to-school items, plus weekly specials you won't believe. Get a free backpack with lunch tote with any $15 purchase. That's a $19.99 backpack with lunch tote free. It's the back-to-school event at Office Depot. Don't be late. Expires 8/6, limit 1, valid in store only.
As a home plate ump, my eyesight is my paycheck. Strike one!
Strike? That thing was chin high!
But the price of monthly contact lenses was eating me up. Strike two!
Come on, it bounced to the plate!
So to save some money, I'm just using these glasses I found. Cha-ching! Strike three, you're out!
He hasn't even pitched the ball yet!
There's an easier way to save. Get online. Go to geico.com. Get a quote. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
With the price of gas skyrocketing, I'm glad the Sears Auto Center offered me advice on which types of motor oil could help reduce engine friction and improve my car's efficiency, which is something I could really use right now.
Head into Sears Auto Center for an oil change, brake inspection, and tire rotation for only $29.99. All that for only $29.99. Plus, save on all BF Goodrich tires through August 13th and get $50 back after mail-in rebate when you buy 4. Sears Auto Center. Exclusions apply. See store for details.
Geico makes it so simple to save hundreds of dollars on car insurance. But why stop there? Geico finds every possible way to save you even more money. Good driver discounts, multi-car discounts, even good student discounts. And don't forget our looking fine discount, a discount for the attractive folk like yourselves. Okay, there's not really a looking fine discount, just seeing if you're paying attention. It's not a bad idea, though.
For a free rate quote, visit geico.com to see how much you could save. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Folks, this is Jake Feinberg. One of the first things I wanted to do when I moved to Tucson was find authentic Chinese cuisine. After a tip from the Chinese Student Association, I headed over to Badar Chinese Restaurant. Well, it's been 7 years, and I have never looked back. Located at 7321 East Broadway Boulevard, Badar has been a family-run operation since 1992. The award-winning chef produces succulent dishes from sizzling ginger chicken to salt and pepper shrimp. The thing that separates Badar from the rest is that the chef procures ancient oriental dishes with the exotic island flair of Taiwan. Most importantly, there are no gimmicks or razzle-dazzle at Badar. You won't find any flat-screen TVs or karaoke machines. Badar is a place to go enjoy good food and spend time with your family. It exudes peace and tranquility after a long week of work. So come down and check out Badar Chinese Restaurant. Hong Hao Chu. It's that good. Folks, this is Jake Feinberg. Being a father, I know there is nothing more important than your child's health. And nobody is more dedicated to children's health in Southern Arizona than Dwayne Dyson. Dr. Dyson is Tucson's finest pediatrician and has devoted much of his professional career to improving the lives of children. Located at 4530 East Camp Fort Lowell, Dr. Dyson's resume speaks for itself. After doing his undergraduate work at Cal Berkeley, his schooling took him to Morehouse School of Medicine, where he mentored young adolescents about the need for pediatric physicians in Atlanta, and worked extensively with infants at the Texas Children's Hospital. The special thing about Dr. Dyson is that while his in-house care is exceptional, he also prepares families about what to expect once they leave the office. Dr. Dyson provides comprehensive and honest analysis for all of his patients. Dr. Dyson and his family live and work in Tucson because he knows how vibrant and diverse the community is. He is committed to procuring a robust family health center that can instill trust and alleviate the concerns of parents. Like I said, his resume speaks for itself. For more information, check out DysonPediatrics.com. Folks, this is Jake Feinberg. Every Friday night I get takeout from Bai Tong Restaurant, which serves Tucson's most authentic Thai cuisine. Pad Thais, fresh vegetables, and spicy Penang curry are my personal favorites, but every meal is sumptuous and cooked to order. Located at 4853 East Speedway Boulevard, Bai Tong serves compelling and affordable lunch specials as well as a full dinner menu. Bai Tong has ingratiated itself with the community by providing a peaceful environment to enjoy a meal with friends and family. Open weekdays for lunch 11 to 3, 5 to 9:30 for dinner Sunday to Thursday, until 10 on Friday and Saturday. So come down to Bai Tong Restaurant at 4853 East Speedway Boulevard to experience a taste of Thailand. Folks, welcome back to the Jake Feinberg Show. Before we get back with Phil Ranelin, I just want to promote the Tucson, the 6th annual Tucson Record Show, 7th annual Tucson Record Show, Sunday, November 6th, located at the Las Casulitas Event Center, 1365 West Grant. For those in Tucson, that is behind the Hampton Inn and behind the Las Casulitas restaurant. It's from 9 to 3. Records, CDs, tapes, and music memorabilia. Dealers are setting up at 7 a.m. Contact Bruce Smith, Cassidy Collectibles at 520-622-0104 or Cassidy Collectibles at earthlink.net. It's a great event. I've been there probably the last 3 or 4 years, so come on down, and we'll be talking about it next week as well. We're rejoined here by legendary trombonist and philosopher, spiritualist, Phil Ranelin. Phil, welcome back, my brother.
Hey, thanks again, Jake. It's great to be here.
You know, I wanted to just touch on the new album again, Perseverance.
Oh, yeah.
I want to send my trajectory into the future, 2011 and beyond. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about Wide Hive Records and what they're trying to do that's different from the rest of our music scene these days.
Well, Gregory Howe and I met probably 7-8 years ago. Can't really remember, but he was a young man that came out to hear me play. Ironically enough, when Freddie was experiencing some problems with his chops, but he was still playing. So I was playing up at San Francisco at a hotel, and Greg came in, and he wanted me to play on a CD that he was about to produce that included Stunning Fortune and some other people. That it was a sort of a collaboration CD. Anyway, I played on some tracks, and from that he says, "Hey man, I want to do a CD on you." So the first CD I did with Greg was called Inspiration, and I had full reins of choosing the music and the musicians and the whole 9 yards. And we recorded it actually down here in L.A. Even though he's based in the Bay, he came down and brought his equipment and recorded the CD. I think I've done a total of 4 with him. And he believes in the music, he believes in me, and he gives me full reins in the studio to do what I do. So, yeah, I'm happy that we met.
How do you think, and maybe you won't be able to answer this right away, and it's okay, but how can I work in conjunction with Greg and Wide Hive? Because I don't, between you and the skipper and Calvin Keys and a host of other guys, I mean, these I believe in it too. And I want to know what I can do. I mean, being in a partnership, it's a lot better than just a bunch of individuals running around, waving their batons.
Right. Now you just you were right. I don't know if I can answer that.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's move on. You just think about, we'll talk soon, so you let me know. But I wanted to, before we move on and talk about Phil's past, which is dense, I did want to play a clip off this album. I was heading over to the show today, and my gosh, this almost ripped my scalp off. So we're going to listen for a few minutes, Phil, and come back, and you can analyze it like a color man at a sports game, okay? All right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so Phil, that pretty much is the way my brain has been feeling the last few months.
Well,
I mean, it's just the you kind of get
pretty intense moments then, huh?
Wow. I mean, that was a track entitled Mystic Destiny, and listening to it again, I sort of feel like I could have easily heard Freddie playing a solo on that as well. Had a really a fiery and also a buoyant feel to it as well.
Wow. Yeah, that would be really a treat if Freddie could have played on it.
But the point is that the point is that when you're talk a little bit about that, what happens, and again there was a piano solo and maybe some percussion after that, but when the song wraps up and you do a take and it's hot, what does anything even need to be said?
Well, next. That's what we did. It's only one take, so yeah. You kind of feel it if it's happening. So, when I played my solo, there was we had a plan that I would play on the vamp, and then the rest of the guys played on actually the vamp and also the entire structure of the tune. So therefore, it feels a little different when the other soloists come in. So yeah, I was pretty happy. I was happy with actually the whole date. Basically, I'm working with some people that I work with on a regular basis, so it was a lot of fun.
Why don't you talk about the people that you're working with on a regular basis? Because it's my hope and goal to see you guys real soon. So talk a little bit about the guys in your band that help you become that team.
Yeah. Well, Don Littleton, I'll start out with him. He was the percussionist on some of the tracks. He's normally my regular drummer, and he's been with me longer than anyone, so I'll start with him. Really a great guy to have on the team, and it is a team because we have to, communicate, and they have to come in and digest the music and interpret it, and try to understand what I'm trying to get across with it. And all these guys are great interpreters, like Kamasi Washington, very, very fiery young tenor saxophonist that you heard, incredible talent. Mahesh Balasoria, the piano player, incredible talent. And, of course, Henry and Big Black are on the track. And but on my regular group, I have another great bass player with Trevor Ware. He's been playing with me now. I've known all these guys, except the youngsters. I've known all of them at least 20, 25 years. I met Trevor when I first moved to Los Angeles in the late 70s. So he's a young, seasoned bass player. Also, I have. That's a quintet. Sometimes we have a sextet, But yeah, that's the nucleus really of the band. Trevor Ware on bass, Mahesh Balasoria on piano, and Don Littleton on drums, and Kamasi Washington on saxophone. So, yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a question for you. The idea of going back to cutting Vibes from the Tribe or something like that in 1973. Was it, with some acid rock groups from that period of time, you'd make an album, and if you were on a particular record label, then you would actually tour various cities in the United States. And I'm trying to think, I'm like, okay, so I wonder if the Tribe, once you cut that album, did you go on a tour of different? We
didn't have a record label. We were the record label. Jay.
I know. No, I know that you were going to say
support. We didn't have any, label support. Where you immediately go out. No, I mean we played a few places in Michigan. We didn't. I don't believe we got outside of Michigan. We may have went to Ohio once the university up there. But other than that, we were, there in Detroit, man.
I really want to. I do not want to rush through this because I didn't tell you this before, but my mother, who actually is in town today, she is from Saginaw, Michigan, and I have always been I was born, and you were already in Los Angeles at that point, but the point is that I have only seen the remnants of what an incredible, fiery and energetic city Detroit was. And as I've done more research on you, and I've started to learn about what you and Wendell Harrison were doing, I just want you to talk about the grittiness and the guttiness of the Mark Fidrich, Phil Ranelin Detroit days.
Well, I got there right after the rebellion.
Yes, the rebellion. Yeah, good call.
67, and so I moved there in 68. You could almost still smell the smoke there, But what I got out of Detroit was so different from Indianapolis was the culture awareness of the people there, and it showed in when you would go out and meet different people. I immediately hooked right in with the right musicians. Harold McKinney and Marcus Belgrave, who I had met earlier, and then Wendell, who also I had met earlier. So, musically speaking, you had everything going on in Detroit, man. There was any kind of music that you wanted to hear, you could hear on any given night, So it was an incredible experience, and I really value my experience there, Yeah.
Well, I think there was there following the rebellion, was there sort of this period of it was a lull in the sense that tensions kind of went down a little bit, and therefore the arts kind of rose up, and there was a little bit more acceptance, or
sure.
am I misreading that?
No, you're right on it, because what happened was, I guess to pacify the people, there were a lot of government programs that came in there, and including music and the arts and everything. As a matter of fact, Harold McKinney was the executive director of a program called Metro Arts, and I might be wrong. He may not have been the executive director, but he had a very high position, and he hired all of us for the program, to teach workshops and the kids and everything. So they had musical instruments, they had dance, they had theater, and we used to rehearse the big band, and that's how I re-met Wendell Harrison at a rehearsal once. He came in, and I also met Horace Tapscott, who was traveling through town. But anyway, there was also a place called Strata, which was Kenny Cox and Charles Moore and those people, that was going on. That was also going on at the same time. So there was a lot of stuff that was going on there,
Were there? I know like there was Baker's Keyboard Lounge, but I know there were other places that you like that regular working class people could go to see the music.
Oh, okay. Well, you're talking about Watts Club Mozambique, in the heart of the black community, Yeah, people would come over there. I played one night with Rahsaan Rowe and Kirk over there,
Wow.
It's like incredible.
Unbelievable.
Man, talk about what a talent. I mean, so, yeah, those kind of things were happening, 5 or 6 nights a week at least,
And how late into
Dummy George's, there was a place called Dummy George's. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, Dummy George's. I mean, the thing I love is like people had pride, but they were actually able to make fun of themselves as well. I mean, there was not all this self-righteous stuff. It was more about not taking your craft seriously, but not taking yourself seriously.
Wow. It was very gratifying period for me because, you know, I was actually able to be a full-time musician for the first time when I moved to Detroit. Because everyone in Indianapolis, I don't care how good you were, West Montgomery had a day job.
That's right. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So, hey, what do you expect out of a trombone player? Yeah, I was.
That's great.
So when I came to Detroit, I was able to make a living as a musician, you know, so it was a beautiful experience for me. I feel really internally connected to Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, I root for that city so much, and it's a shell of what it was. I mean, but I look
back though, Jake.
What's that?
I do believe it's coming back because I echo what you're saying. I was there 3 years ago, and I stayed downtown Detroit, and what used to be this busy city was just like a ghost town. It was like 8 in the morning. I'm watching the bus go by, and it had 2 people on it, you know, where it used to be full. But the last time I was there, it seems like there were more people circulating around. It just seemed like that the city is going to come back. I really believe that city is going to come back.
No, I actually, I want to believe that, and I hear some things. I mean, I think it's kind of about, I don't want to get into an economics class. It is about providing jobs so that people can work and live within that urban setting. But, you know, at the end of the day, Phil, I just feel that, you know, you're 72 and you've done yeoman's work, and I'm 33, and I guess what I need to do is get kind of a long view perspective of this, that, in fact, while we're dealing with turbulence right now, I'm doing this for future generations, and that's what I have to realize, that I have to believe that in 50 years, Detroit will have a 21st century feel with a vibrant downtown, and hopefully some Club Mozambiques will reopen, you know?
Hey, that sounds like a plan. Hopefully that will transpire, you know? Yeah. So all I can do is just keep coming up with the music and hopefully perform it live somewhere. So that's the whole objective. You know, I was just in Panama earlier this year.
Yeah, let's talk about that. The Dolphy.
The Eric Dolphy Roots Project. That was a great experience. I collaborated and partnered with the Danilo Perez Foundation. And wow, what a great thing they got going on over there. You know, like they have incredibly talented youth that are there at the center all day long. And I think he has something like 20 pianos and, you know, musical instruments, and there's music all day. It's a great scene there. So, yeah, I was there for a month.
You went down for a full month.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I didn't never realize that was where Dolphy was originally from.
He wasn't, but his parents were.
His parents were from there. So
yeah.
So
actually born in Los Angeles.
But you felt, and you what was the first time you met Eric Dolphy, and take us through that experience?
Well, the problem is, Jake, I never met Eric Dolphy.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, no, I never met Eric, but Eric used to hear about him all the time because Freddie roomed with him, and so Freddie and I always kept in touch and this sort of thing. But no, I never actually met him, but he was such a strong spirit that I just feel like something happened where he was almost like he's talking to me, you know, and my manager, Mr. Lily Pearson, had a great, you know, like respect for his music and things he was doing, and she actually was on the way to hear him play in Paris a week, I think a couple of days before he had passed, not realizing that he had died and showing up at the club and finding out that he had passed and everything. So anyway, we have a kind of a commitment to make people aware of this not only brilliant musician, but just a brilliant human being. I mean, just like there's no one on earth, I don't believe, that could say anything bad about Harry. He was just like an angel. You know, that's what everyone said. So I could go into some details about something that happened. People may think I'm crazy, but I believe that he was guiding us in a way. You know, like
Phil,
I just further.
Let me. You know, let's pick this conversation up in a minute. We're gonna have to go. The Jake Weimer Show is off for the day. I just wanted to say thank you, my friend, and we will do some more interviewing. But you keep up your good work, and for all the Tucsonians out there, we're going to get Phil Ranelin and his band down here as soon as possible. Okay, Phil?
Hey, let's do it. I'm ready.
All right, now this is
My
the Jake.
bags are already packed.
We're packed, baby. Yeah, we'll see you next week, guys.
KJLL, South Tucson.
CBS News, I'm Sam Litzinger. It's the deadliest single day for American forces since they've been fighting in Afghanistan. The Taliban says